I came home from the Marine Corps and ended up working at Spirit Medical Transportation Service, started there in 1997. I flew for them for the next 14 years. All of my children grew up listening to tales of woe of other families, disasters and tragedies. From when they were little, they heard helmets on their bicycles and don't cross the streets and watch for cars, and it was always driven off of something tragic that I'd witnessed at work.
Josh was my second child. He was the most caring child. Josh was just the type of guy who loved to live life to the fullest. He loved to ride his four-wheeler. He loved driving trucks in the mud.
Josh is one of a kind. He was born in 91. He was always the mechanic kid. He was fixing something. They had motorcycles, dirt bikes, four-wheelers since they were little. He was working on following in my footsteps. He was. Decided he wanted to be on the Volunteer Fire Department, so he joined Armenia. He went back to school with Armenia to be a firefighter. He went back to be a EMT. His goal was a full-time fire department job.
I was sitting at home and I got a phone call from one of Josh's friends on the night of the accident, Eric, and he said, Josh has been in a four-wheeler accident and they're taking him to the hospital.
He was being flown to Marshfield. Lifelink's helicopter was taking him there. The information we got came from one of the flight nurses who told us that it was a traumatic brain injury and that there had been CPR done on him at the scene. He had never regained consciousness, even though he had a pulse back.
It ended up, just proceedingly getting worse as time went on.
He had never moved. He had never twitched a finger, an eye, nothing. He couldn't take a breath on his own. That's not who Josh is.
And then on Wednesday, they finally did an MRI and found out that the damage in his brain was too bad from the accident and that he wouldn't be able to survive. And that's when they asked us what we wanted to do.
We started to talk about what would he want. We accepted the fact that we weren't going to make him stay like that. And if he could be an organ donor, that's what was going to happen.
When someone has potential to be an organ donor, those are patients that have a severe injury to the brain, whether it be some sort of trauma, a stroke, a lack of blood flow to the brain, and they're on a ventilator. Those are kind of our triggers. Once we know someone has that, we make a referral to UW, and not everyone who gets referred is actually a donor. Sometimes patients get better. Sometimes they are medically ruled out due to some past medical history. And sometimes they do have potential to be a donor.
They played his favorite music while they were doing the surgery. They wanted to know Josh and who he was as a person, because when they do the surgery, they don't treat you as a patient. They treat you as a person. They refer to him as Josh, as a person the whole time he's going through the surgery. And it made us feel real comfortable. We felt like he was in good hands throughout the whole thing.
When we talk to these families and they know that their loved one has signed up to be a donor, it takes such weight off their shoulders. They're not faced with another hard decision. They know what their loved ones want, and they want to honor that wish.
He's the guy that's going to give what he can give, and organ donation would be at the top of his list.
Even though it was hard leaving him when he took his last breath, I felt like he was in good hands, and we were doing the right thing, knowing that Josh is living on in 5 other human beings, and knowing that he's still helping even though he is gone is one of the best feelings in the world.